Episode 9 is brought to you by the following Big Dog Tier members: Amaya Hathcock, Chastity Thomas, Lowe, Tabitha Chandler, Shayna Wheeler, Casey Leisure, Kimber, and Redalia Clay. Are you looking to be more involved in the Dog Pound community? If so, please visit patreon.com/dogwithabone. For just $1 a month, you can help support Dog with a Bone's mission. Please visit our page to learn about the multiple tiers that will give you access to behind-the-scenes content, outtakes, documents, photos, videos, and live monthly events with me. I thank you for your continued support and consideration. Warning: this episode contains adult content and listener discretion is advised. All views and opinions expressed by Dog with a Bone guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of the host or the contributors. Everyone, and welcome back to Dog with a Bone. If you have not already, please join our Dog with a Bone discussion Facebook page where you can meet other listeners and discuss the episodes as we move through the season. There will be a ton to talk about. Also, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to Dog with a Bone on Spotify or wherever you listen so you get notified when episodes are released. Previously, we uncovered significant abuse that Mackenzie, Harrison, and Douglas were forced to endure over and over again at the hands of Marianne and Kenny. But we also know that Harrison said he didn't feel safe when under the watch of William, who was Marianne's youngest brother. Just a quick reminder, William was in high school and just living down the street from Marianne's house. William was in the home at the time of the fire, so we need to dig into William's history. What was William doing that made the kids feel so unsafe when he was watching them? When I first began this investigation, I had the chance to connect with Douglas, who was the youngest of the 3 kids, by phone. Douglas was able to tell me about an incident that he had with William when he was younger. What do you know about William?
I have one specific memory where I believe it was snowing at the time, and we were all going out, so play in the snow or whatever. And then everyone went back inside, and I'm waiting for them or whatever, and I go back inside, and I believe it was William that was yelling at them, and then this turned into a whole big ordeal because when I went back inside, they had a fireplace in their front room. He was yelling at me, and we got turned around, and I ended up backing into the fireplace, which put a big burn on my back.
He was mad at you?
I'm not really sure what happened. Being that young, you don't really understand and everything, but...
Was that intentional?
I have no idea what the reason was, but as a kid, you just get small and you back away from whoever's yelling at you, so... And I didn't realize, I guess, that the fireplace was behind me, so you just back right up into that.
Did anyone try to help you or take a look at your back?
I know when we went back to my dad's that night, that's when he found out, and he was really upset. And I believe he took me to the hospital at the time. But from what he told me, that they never took me to the hospital after that. It was my dad that was the one that took me to the hospital. And that it was pretty severe, bad burns, and I had to get a scrub down and everything like that.
I feel like I'm a broken record here because here we are with Donald being the only parent of these 3 kids to take them to the hospital after sustaining injuries while they're under Marianne's care. That's what I was wondering, the severity of it, and if it was an accident, too. You're like, oh my goodness, and you take a look at it and you try to get help, right? Medical care for a 5-year-old.
Yeah, I just know my dad was really upset because I'm not sure if they were it doesn't look that bad.
Do you remember how big it was, the burn?
I would say it went from shoulder blade to shoulder blade across the back, so
Oh, that's pretty big.
probably an inch or two in length, and then just shoulder blade to shoulder blade width.
I thanked Douglas for his time, and we ended the call. In summary, Douglas said several times that he was younger than Mackenzie and Harrison, so he has a vague memory of that time in his life. But he also expressed to me how hard he has worked to remove himself, and he is trying to separate his present day from his childhood. I do feel that because he is trying to remove himself, that he did minimize what actually happened to him that day. Something to which I can totally understand. I did follow up with Harrison on his statement about feeling unsafe when under William's care, but also the incident involving Douglas. What would happen when William was watching you all?
Well, when we were with our nephews and stuff, so we would play wrestling and goof off and stuff like that. And he would get mad for no reason to start beating every one of us.
How would he beat you?
Mainly with a belt.
He, a 17-year-old,
Yep.
he's beating you with a belt.
Yep.
He thought he had the authority to do that?
Yeah.
Just an FYI, I did post the document where Detective Brown stated that these bruises were from wrestling, and according to his daughter, who worked at CPS in another county, mind you, that he would not be filing anything with CPS or continue the investigation into the abuse. I then asked Harrison if he remembers more details of what happened with Douglas when he was burnt by the fire.
I remember that day plain as it can be. We was actually, all of us were goofing off, and we were playing like Cowboys and Horse, where you would put like a pillow on your back and then take a belt and tie it around you, and we rode each other like those horses. And he got mad. I don't remember what he got mad over. I think one of us knocked something over or something, but he got mad, and he come in and he was he took the belt off of, I don't remember which kid it was, but he took the belt off and he was busting us. And my brother, he was like the last one to get whooped. He kept turning away from William, didn't want to get punished and everything. Well, he was close to the fireplace, and William went to hit him or something, and like my brother fell back, and like he leaned up against the fireplace, and William grabbed him, held him there for a minute, and then I think he threw him to the ground and busted his butt, and then nothing happened out of it.
To just recap here, Harrison recalls that William grabbed Douglas, who was 5 years old at the time, held him up to the burning fire, and allowed him to get burnt, before then throwing him to the ground and beating him. Come on, everybody. What is it with abuse and fires with the Potter family? So your brother had a massive scar,
Yes.
an actual degree burn
Yes.
from the fire.
Yes.
Because William held him there.
Yes.
So it wasn't an accident.
No.
Your brother didn't just fall back and get
No.
burned. William held him there. Was your brother screaming, yelling?
Yes.
What were you all doing? Was Mackenzie there?
Yes, Mackenzie was still alive. I think we was all, actually, I ain't gonna lie, I think we all was scared at that point. We all just sat down and pretty much listened to what he was saying.
Because he feared the shit
Yes.
out of you. I asked Harrison if William was sexually abusive towards them to see if there was a history.
There's multiple times. I do remember playing this day one time that I think it was just us three there. I want to say it was just us three, my mom's kids, me, Mackenzie, and Doug. But he would make us all kiss and lick each other's chest, even his. All three of us and him. He would make us take turns licking each other's boobs, I would put it.
Yeah.
And everything, even his.
What did he say to make this happen?
I mean, he really didn't. He pretty much said, hey, this is what we're doing. This is how it's going type deal.
This is what we're going to do.
Like I said, us kids at that time favored him. I mean, that was our babysitter. That's who we had to listen to. If not, we knew we was in trouble. So we did what he would tell us to do and da-da-da-da-da.
William was sexually abusing Mackenzie, Harrison, and Douglas by having them suck each other's and his own chest. That is so disgusting. I can't even. So we have William, who's at the scene of the fire, who already has a past of sexual abuse and physical abuse. And now we have semen found on Mackenzie and 3 orifices. We have to continue to dig into William.
But me and my brother, the thing is with me and my brother, like I said, we held that shit in. We didn't open it up to no one really. Mackenzie was the voice for us, and Mackenzie would tell our counselor, hey, this is what's going on. This is what is being done to us.
Right.
And then nothing was going to happen out of it. Mm-hmm. He was still being our babysitter. He was still this and that. So we did, instead of opened up, we bundled it in.
So what do you say when your mom says that her kids, that Mackenzie was never sexually abused?
I call my mama bullshit lie. And that's one reason why me and my mom do not see eye to eye. Is even when we was doing counseling, we would have to go and do counseling with my mom. They would bring my mom in after Mackenzie's death. And she would start talking on stuff like we was one big happy family and da-da-da-da-da. But once I started calling her out on the bullshit, she was done with me. She didn't want nothing to do with me. I would go in and have a 10-minute conversation with our counselor and her when my brother would be in there 30 minutes to 45 minutes. But that's because my brother held it in.
I asked Harrison if there were any other incidents of physical or sexual abuse from any of the other Potter family members.
Once, when I was little and I got beat from him, that was like a no-no with my dad. My dad really didn't want us by ourselves around here.
Okay. So the grandpa beat you?
Yes.
For what?
I was doing something and he got pissed at me. And I took off and I ran outside. They had a wooden picnic table. And I remember jumping up on the wooden picnic table to try to run from him. And he grabbed a hold of me off that wooden picnic table and beat the fuck out of me. I mean, beat the fuck out of me. I was beat. To the point I had hand marks all the way across my back from him.
God.
And I remember talking to a chef about it, but nothing ever come out of it. And then I found out not too long ago the reason nothing come out of it was because my mom had the charges dropped.
So your mom dropped the charges against
My grandpa.
Your grandpa for the abuse. And I've seen on your mom's Facebook page a lot of love for her dad. All this love you, grandpa, in heaven, happy birthday. And he was physically, sexually, verbally, emotionally abusive, my understanding is, to all of his kids. She drops the charges.
Yep.
Once again, here we are. Here's an opportunity for Marianne to do the right thing and protect her kids. But she didn't do it. William was abusive to Mackenzie, Harrison, and Douglas, both physically and sexually. Mackenzie did make this report to a counselor that we have documents of, that William made them suck each other's chests and his. Remember, William was 16 or 17 years old at this time, which is very concerning. Of course, I want to give William a chance to speak up in hopes that he wants to find justice for Mackenzie and tell me what he remembers from that night. I had gotten numbers for Marianne, Kenny, and William, and then I sat down and developed a plan. I had myself, my best friend, and Vicky, who helped me on the first season of Bernie's case. We called all 3 of them at the same time. The reason was I didn't want them to talk to one another or have my number and then not answer it. Vicky gave William a call, and here's his response to being asked about Mackenzie's murder.
Hello?
Hi, William.
I'm calling to see if you could answer some questions about the night that Kenzie was murdered in an arson.
Again, not a big shocker here, everyone. Another person in that home that night is refusing to get justice for one of their own family members. William couldn't even be bothered. I do want to point out that William lives in Kentucky, right near Marianne and Kenny. And since this fire, or I should say murder and sexual assault of Mackenzie in 2006, they have stayed pretty close together in proximity. So let's dig into the last person that we know who was in that home that night of the fire. And this would be Jamie Potter, Marianne's other brother. Remember, Marianne puts Jamie in the house. Jamie also puts himself in the house that night. In one of my several conversations with Donald, he tells me more about what Jamie had told him right after the fire.
Jamie said that Marianne kept calling her dad because he couldn't get a hold of Jamie. So she kept calling her dad and telling her, I need to talk to Jamie, I need Jamie. And supposedly what was said was that Jamie needed to come and pick up food from their house. And she called her dad like 7, 8 times, is what Jamie said. And then when Jamie got to his dad's house, his dad told him, hey, Marianne's been blowing me up, trying to get a hold of you. And he said he just got off at work around 11:30. And then he went to Marianne and Kenny's house.
This is a school night. She's calling Jamie this late at night, this many times. Why?
Well, supposedly it was to come and pick up pizza.
So she was trying to get a hold of her brother Jamie at 11:30 at night to come pick up pizzas?
Pizzas, yeah.
What's the urgency? Were they going to defrost or what?
Well, what was interesting was when he was telling me this, remember that earlier that day wanted my boys to stay and wanted money for Mackenzie's school pictures. But what I never understood was she never mentioned, see, the bar that I worked at, they ordered food. They ordered a bunch of food. The patrons in my bar, you know, my customers. But she never mentioned nothing about me coming and picking up the food from Mackenzie for the people that ordered food at the bar.
But didn't you tell me that you never ordered anything, that there was no fundraiser?
No, there wasn't. There's certain things that they sell, and then there's certain things they don't sell. And at that time, Mackenzie was doing a thing called Jump for Hearts, I think is what they call it, Jump for Hearts. And she had to sell certain things to get money for, you know, people with, I guess, bad hearts or whatever. It's something called Jump for Hearts. There wasn't like some schools do, sell food or Christmas time, cookies, dough or something, you know, during holidays. You know, when there's holiday. There wasn't no holiday. You understand what I'm saying? When Mackenzie was murdered, it's the end of April. There wasn't no holiday. Plus, it's at the end, almost the end of the school year.
Okay, and was that food?
No, I think it was, I can't remember what they sold during that.
But they weren't selling frozen pizzas.
They never sold frozen pizzas at any school. I called Jeffersonville schools, and I talked even to Ms. Zimmerman, her school teacher. They don't sell pizza. Then they changed the story, and then they said it was pumpkin rolls. Okay, but then they don't even sell pumpkin rolls in April. Pumpkin rolls are sold, if the school's selling it, it would be around October, November is what the school told me.
I looked online, and per jumprope.org, Jump for Hearts is a fundraiser where kids collect money in exchange for doing physical activity at the school. Frozen pizzas and pumpkin rolls were not on the list. Correct. So she's saying that, and Jamie's saying, hey, she's calling me to come pick up this frozen pizzas that we know isn't true. Then it's changed to pumpkin rolls, which isn't true.
But Jamie said that when he got there, this is his story to me, direct. When he got there, When he go in the house, he said that him and Mackenzie and Kenny walked out to the garage and got whatever was in the freezer. And then that's Jamie's story. And then he came back in the house.
So what time would this have been then? Because if it's 11:30, what time was Jamie there?
Jamie told me to my face that he left at midnight.
He left where at midnight?
Mary Ann's house
So
at midnight.
around 11:30, he's getting these calls, or he gets off work at 11:30?
Yeah, that's what, right. He said he got off at between 11 and 11:30.
Okay.
Stopped at his dad's house. His dad told him that Mary Ann's been blowing up his phone looking for him. So then he left there and went down to Mary Ann's house.
Okay. So this is a school night, and so he's claiming that Mackenzie is up at 11:30, 11:45.
On the computer. Supposedly Mackenzie was on the computer with Mary Ann, and they were playing something about Barbie. Something to do with a Barbie. That's supposedly what Mackenzie was doing. And then he said that he was thirsty. He got a glass of tea. Mackenzie got a sip of the tea. Drank some of Jamie's tea out of Jamie's glass. Then she was going upstairs. When she was going upstairs, she was going to bed.
I have to stop right there because didn't Mary Ann tell us that she tucked Mackenzie in?
Yes, but what Mary Ann said was, okay, Jamie said Mary Ann told Mackenzie that, hey, it's time to go to bed. You need to get in bed. Mackenzie went upstairs supposedly to go to bed. And Mary Ann said, I'll be up later to tuck you in and give you a kiss. That's what she supposedly said to Mackenzie. Then Jamie said, I told Mackenzie, hey, I'll be back this weekend. You're coming to my house for the weekend, which later on don't make no sense because Mary Ann said she was having a yard sale. So I don't even know why she would be going to Jamie's house. Plus, it was my weekend anyway. And Mackenzie yelled back down the steps, I'm not going to your house, to Jamie. That's what Mackenzie supposedly said to Jamie. I'm not going to your house. I'm going to my dad's.
What time did Mary Ann say she tucked Mackenzie in and said goodnight?
Between 11 and 11:30.
Yes.
That's what I said. Her time of tucking Mackenzie in,
Yes.
Jamie's time of still being
Yes.
with Mackenzie, and Mackenzie going to bed near midnight. It don't make right. It doesn't make no sense. That's where
the timeline.
I'm saying
The timeline is all wrong right here.
all wrong.
So that's what I'm pointing out. The other thing is, I don't think Mackenzie would be going outside in her nightgown at 11:30 to the garage. Why would she do that?
Well, that's when I questioned that too. Jamie said she went outside. Mackenzie wasn't found in her bed in a nightgown. So I know my daughter didn't go outside to the garage, out the front door. That's what Jamie said. And because he said the red truck, and that was another thing that I caught. He said the red truck was turned sideways against the porch. Jamie said he had to walk around the truck. They walked around the truck, then went in the garage. But that's another thing that didn't make no sense neither. They have a back door that goes into the garage from the kitchen. So why would they have to go outside and through the garage door?
So here's how I think this went down. William was still in the house, and the decision was then made to start the fire to cover up the sexual assault. We know that William moved the truck from his own words and Kenny's. Jamie was then called for help to try to figure out what to do. Jamie said he had to walk around the truck, but I'm also wondering if the truck wasn't placed there for them to remove things from the house. I do believe that the number of times Mary Ann was blowing up her dad's phone to try to reach Jamie, that there is no way Jamie just strolled on over at 11:30 to 11:45. He sat down, had a glass of tea, and Mary Ann and Mackenzie were just hanging out on the computer, like everything is normal. There was a real sense of urgency on Mary Ann's part to get a hold of Jamie that night. Heck, she had more sense of an urgency getting hold of Jamie than she did in trying to get a hold of the firefighters to come save her daughter from the fire. That should tell you everything. Jamie tells you about the nightgown, about the tea, about Mackenzie.
Right. And see, that's another thing that puzzled me too, is he admitted that Mackenzie drank tea. in the autopsy report, they stated that they found caffeine in her system. So my next question is where I'm putting everything together when I was doing this. And my next question was, okay, Mackenzie drank tea. There was caffeine in her system, which would explain the tea. So that's telling me that Jamie's correct on the tea, that Mackenzie drank tea right before she went to bed. Yep. But then my next question was, why didn't my daughter wake up? Because she would have peed the bed. She would have.
Well,
I don't even have to be a doctor. I'm a father. And I know my kid, if she drank tea and stuff like that, she'd have wet the bed. Mackenzie wetted the bed. If you take 7 days out of a week, and Mackenzie wetted the bed at least 5 of those 7 days.
I believe that what happened right after that because she didn't use the bathroom and she had nothing more to drink to have semen in those places. Donald and I go back to the conversation more in detail on what Mackenzie was wearing when Jamie saw her go up the stairs to bed. This is a critical piece of information.
He said she had, I can't remember, honestly, Donald, but it was either blue or gray, but it was a nightgown, long nightgown, and it had white ruffles on it. And I know exactly what nightgown he's talking about. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's how she goes to bed. And I didn't mention yet, and I didn't show the pictures yet of her in her underwear and bra. Then that's when I started thinking in the beginning. I told you about the story about Mackenzie peeing the bed there at his house and coming to his bedroom naked and asking him to give her something to put on. Man, I know my daughter. My daughter wouldn't do that. I'm telling you, wouldn't even come to me naked. She wouldn't have done it.
I don't know of any girl who would go to their uncle naked and say, I peed the bed naked. You're not going to go naked to an uncle. I mean, I don't even see my daughter doing that to her dad.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But I know this is why I don't understand. You know, when the investigators talk to me, you know, they ask me questions about my daughter. They ask me questions, you know, about Mackenzie, you know, what kind of a girl she was, what did she do, how did she dress, you know, and I told them, man, that kid would not show no skin. Right. You know what I'm saying? She would not, my daughter did not sleep in underwear, ever.
For Jamie to mention that Mackenzie showed up naked at his bedroom door asking for help is a real red flag to me. Mackenzie knew what to do when she became incontinent because, as Donald said, it happened 5 out of 7 nights. Why would she need to go to his room naked and ask for help? I had real concerns about Jamie and his story that I wondered if he had a history of sexual or physical abuse with other children. And here we are again. It turns out he does. I was contacted by someone close to Jamie who wanted to tell her truth of what happened to her at a very young age. For safety reasons, her voice will be altered and she'll go by Hazel.
He was giving me a bath and he just started taking pictures.
He started to take photos of you?
Yeah.
While you're in the bathtub?
Yeah.
You were in the bathtub and he's taking photos of you?
Yeah, but it was just not my face.
Not your face, but the rest of your body?
Yeah. His phone wasn't waterproof, so he couldn't just put it in the bathtub, but he did it very well.
Did you ask him, what are you doing?
No, it was mainly just, I thought it was normal. I was still very young at the time, so I was just playing with the water in the bathtub.
And he would take photos and make sure not to get your face?
Yeah.
So that means your chest and your private parts?
Yeah.
Did he touch you at all in the bathtub?
Yeah.
What would he do?
He would just put his hand in the water and just touch everything.
So he would put his hand in the water and touch all of your privates?
Yeah.
Did he ever get in the water with you?
No.
Were you thinking this was normal?
Yeah. I was like 5 at the time, so I was like, oh, okay.
And did he ever talk to you about what he was doing or why he was doing it?
No, it was just mainly afterwards. He was like, you can't tell anybody about this, and this is normal.
This is really not uncommon for kids to be told by their abuser, quote, this is normal, in hopes that the kid never talks to anyone and tells them what's going on. If this isn't classic abusive behavior, I don't know what is.
But I ended up going home, and I was still very young at the time, so my mom was giving me a shower, and then she was putting a diaper rash cream on because I still was in diapers. And she saw how it was red in the area, and she goes, what happened? I go, he touched me. And she's like, oh, that's not normal.
Just take a minute and think about this for a second. Hazel still had red areas from the abuse that happened in the tub. The fact that she was still red and sore says a lot about what happened in that tub. I'm wondering with these photos if he didn't take other photos of other girls, because he didn't put your face on them. That's interesting. After this happened, you didn't want to take baths anymore.
Yeah.
Just the trauma of it?
Yeah.
You're so brave for talking to me and sharing this, and I thank you for that. And I'm hoping I can get Mackenzie justice through this and be able to tell the story on all that these people have done to young girls. There has to be justice somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you can remember about that time in the bathtub or what happened after that?
I just remember him telling me, oh, you can't tell anybody, then just completely acting like it didn't happen.
That would be a common thing, right?
Throughout the years, he would just be like, oh, that didn't happen. You imagine thinking this, that didn't happen. It's like, okay, I remember it, but you can go with that.
That's right. You tell him. You tell him. You know what happened. And I believe that there's records that this happened.
Yeah, he took a lie detector test and everything.
And he failed it, didn't he?
Yeah.
According to court documents that I reviewed, Jamie failed the lie detector test regarding the sexual assault that we just heard about. A sexual assault kit was done and tested positive for abuse. Jamie has also lost custody of his kids due to the sexual abuse. Again, we now have a second Potter in the home of the night with a history of sexual abuse with kids. This alone is bringing more and more concerns to what was going on in this house and what was happening to Mackenzie. You do good and you change what happened, and this is your path, right? Your journey now. It's not his. So you keep pushing forward and do right and make things right. And I think that is the best payback, is that you don't become who they are.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
I just want to take a moment and acknowledge how hard these few episodes have been to record, to play, and I'm sure for all of you to listen to. That we have heard from so many young children who have been abused by Kenny, by William, by Jamie, by Marianne, by Marianne's dad. This is just unfathomable that these kids turned out and are as strong as they are today. Unfortunately, Mackenzie didn't get that chance. And when I look at what happened to Hazel, bath time is supposed to be fun for kids, right? I remember my kids loving bath time. They would play with the bubbles and toys and just be a kid. But here we have Jamie took this innocent child activity and made it into a sexually abusive situation for his own pleasure. This ultimately changed Hazel's life forever. To me, Hazel is brave just as Dustin and Harrison and Douglas, who wanted to speak up in the hope that they can be Mackenzie's voice as well and tell what happened to them. For them to tell a complete stranger and all of you listening about what happened to them at the hands of someone they knew, it's scary. But I am so proud of Hazel and all of the other kids who are talking. Of course, after hearing all of this from Hazel, I wanted to give Jamie a call to find out, hey, what happened that night when you were there, and Mackenzie saying goodnight to you and walking up the stairs, and what's with the pizzas and what's with the sexual abuse. So I gave Jamie a call to give him a chance to explain the night of the murder and the sexual assault of Mackenzie. Here's what Jamie had to say.
Hello?
Hi, is this Jamie?
Yes.
Hi, Jamie. My name is Melissa Sandberg, and I am a civil investigator, and I am investigating and doing a podcast on Mackenzie's death, and I... Okay.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
Hi, Jamie, it's Melissa. I'm not sure if we got disconnected, but I am investigating Mackenzie's murder.
Listen, I am not surprised at all that Jamie and William both hung up on me, but also that I haven't heard from Marianne and Kenny, because that's how they've been able to continue to stay under the radar, is none of them are talking. When you are not talking about a murder and a sexual assault that happened and you were the ones in the home, you've got something to hide. So I just want to say this. After hearing the account of the sexual abuse that Jamie did to this young child, I had to sit back and wonder if he also did this to Mackenzie. But what I'm really wondering is this. Is it possible that Jamie was taking photos of Mackenzie, like he did with Hazel, and posting them online to sell them? Is this why Marianne was on the computer so much? Were they posting photos of Mackenzie together? Or was it just Jamie? We have Mackenzie clearly knocked out from something, sexually assaulted, and found in clothing that she never wore that looks like it was staged for something. When we dig more into the, quote, investigation, or as I say, lack of investigation, into Jamie, I will say this. Jamie puts himself in Mackenzie's bedroom, tucking her in, and not just saying goodnight as she walks up the stairs. Next time on Dog with a Bone.
When we were at my uncle's, he said that he was just thankful that Jennifer wasn't involved. All he knows is his kid called him and he came and got her. And that there was some sort of gas can on the front porch.
See,
when
that
he went there to get her.
So that's important, though. Like, that's
he said
critical.
that there was no gas can there when he dropped her off.
Dog with a Bone is hosted by Melissa Sandberg, investigated, produced, and written by Melissa Sandberg. Additional writing by Caitlin Sandberg. Edited by Jason Sandberg. Mixed and mastered by Morrow Mixing and Mastering. Theme music by Alex Yukich. Dog with a Bone is a Sasquatch production.